Helldivers, this can't be happening, this can't be real. We are getting a confirmed Warhammer 40,000 collaboration with Helldivers 2, and I for one cannot wait. And while we don't know the timings of it, we can definitely speculate what's going to be on this warbond, so let's dive in. So as I'm sure you all know, the world of Helldivers 2 draws on inspiration from many different worlds and settings, and one of those being the world of Warhammer 40,000. Now the devs themselves have been big fans of the setting, especially Johan Pilstad. He's always said that he'd wanted to do a collaboration with Warhammer, and friends, it's actually here, it's actually happening. This has been a bucket list item of mine for so long, and I'm very excited. But while I'm excited, I have to make sure that I am tempering and grounding that excitement, because I have to think about what it can be and what it's not going to be. Because there's just so many different possibilities that we could throw in this warbond, but again, they have to keep it grounded to the setting of Helldivers 2, and not make it so it's like, you know, too far gone and too much in the wrong direction that it doesn't make sense for their video game. So let's start off with things that are probably not going to be within this warbond, and I would say getting full-on Astartes Space Marine armor is probably not going to be happening in this warbond. I know many people, myself included, would love to see a Helldiver in their own version of this armor. I think it'd be pretty cool, and I think that there's ways to do this. Let's say, you know, it is a stratagem that's called down similar to a mech, and you get like a Juggernaut armor that lasts you for so long, and it can power up your guy. Obviously, you'd have to, you know, balance the crap out of this, but it could be a lot of fun. And I think it's doable, but I don't think it's actually feasible of what's going to be coming for us. So I'm going to cross that off the list. What I also don't think is going to be happening is anything outside of what's known as the Astra Militarum. Now, the Astra Militarum is a military wing of the humans if you're looking at the Warhammer 40k setting. You know, regular people going to war, going to battle, they have their range of vehicles, their primaries, all that good stuff. And, you know, there's a lot to choose from just from that. So let's take a look at what's probably going to be from an Astra Militarum side and what can they offer. So the Astra Militarum is broken down into regiments. Now, some are more popular and some are a little bit less than. And of the ones that are popular, I think there's some that are probably not going to be happening. And the first one is going to be the Catachan fighters. The reason being, well, we've kind of already seen them on the battlefield in the Python and Viper commandos. These are also jungle fighters, and they're experts at what they do, and they definitely got the job done, but I don't think that they would go this route because, you know, we've kind of already seen it. So let's cross that one off the list. Now, another regiment, and I have to say, friends, this pains me to say that we're not going to be seeing, is most likely going to be the Death Corps of Krieg, because we already have their aesthetic on the battlefield between those trench coats that we have for the field chemist and that gas mask and the other similar aesthetics out there. You know, we kind of already have their drip and their vibe. Not to mention, we have the shovel that you can find within Helldivers 2 to be using, and that's kind of also that meme weapon that the Death Corps Krieg are known for. So, you know, let's cross them off the list as well. So then, who's left of the popular regiments? Well, friends, if we take a look at the Cadian shock troops as well as the Castrin, you can kind of put them into the same category because they both like to rock that green armor. They're both very well known and both very well beloved, and I'd think that, hey, either choice would be a strong candidate and is almost more than likely to appear within the warbond, especially as the medium armor option. But then who does that leave for our light armor? Now, there are a lot of other options as well, and I think the one that makes the most sense for the setting of Helldivers 2 is going to be the Steel Legion. These guys are also badass fighters, and they are specialists with different types of, you know, heavy weapons, rapid fire equipment, things like that. They're definitely great as well, and I think that they're going to be another strong choice. But friends, if we also get a surprise item in the Superstore that's related to the collaboration, I think that a strong candidate is going to be the Astra Militarum's Tempestus units. These guys are the guys that are more heavily armored, decked out in all blue, and they have really cool look to them, a lot of fun weapons as well, and maybe they could be a third choice. I don't think this is going to happen, but if it was, I think they are probably the best candidate for a heavy armor unit for the Astra Militarum. So now that armor speculation's out of the way, let's go look at the weapons. Now, friends, if we take a look at the different collaborations done previously, starting off with the Killzone one, we got 3 primaries, and I think that's a good range to be getting for a warbond. Now, if we look at the Halo one, it was 3 primaries plus a secondary pistol, and if we're going to follow suit and maybe stick with, let's say, you know, either the same equivalent of weapons to the Halo one or adding on an additional one, you know, I think that gives us a lot of room to play with. So if we take a look at the most iconic weaponry of the Astra Militarum, there's 3 that really come to mind that make a lot of sense for the setting of Helldivers 2, at least for me. The first being the lasgun. Now, the lasgun is a laser firing rifle of sorts, and this thing, you know, has low to medium stopping power, sometimes higher because within lore it can be adjusted. So if this gun had multiple firing modes to it, that'd be pretty cool. Another strong candidate is most likely going to be the plasma gun, and the reason for this is a couple things. One, because it's a volatile weapon, and sometimes it explodes and takes out the user, so very much in line for the Helldivers 2 humor, but also for the fact that this thing is an energy weapon, it shoots out plasma rounds, it knocks out heavy enemies, and if we were to use it, it'd be a heavy pen weapon, most likely, that we'd be getting as a primary. So I'm going to put this up there as a likely candidate. Then our third candidate, and I am slightly iffy on this one because it is an anti-tank weapon, but it's also an infantry weapon, is going to be the Melt-A-Gun. Now, the Melt-A-Gun is capable of shooting through armor on tanks, any of those big boys like that. And friends, it's a lot of fun to use in the Warhammer setting. So if we actually got this thing, that would be completely badass, but maybe that's more of a pipe dream from an actuality. So if we shift gears over to our secondaries, I think only one gun really comes to mind for our pistol, and that is going to become the bolt pistol, because friends, it is the most iconic weapon in the 40k setting for units as a secondary. This thing is jet propelled and it shoots like an explosive bolt round into the enemy, and it could be, similar to the Dominator in terms of stopping power, but as a pistol. So this would be one that I would say has a very high probability of showing up in the warbond. But friends, they have an opportunity to do something incredibly cool now, and that would be giving us a melee option as well. So you may think that melee weapon could be the chainsword, and hey, I'd say normally you'd be right. But because we already have the defoliation tool, I would say most likely that's not going to happen. But we have a chance of getting the power sword. Now, the power sword is also an energy-based weapon. It has kind of like a static field around an energy field that cuts through armor, and it's powered by a source that goes into its hilt. And this thing is badass. I've always wanted something like this in the game, and if we got it, I would be completely hyped for it. So please, 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 who's ever listening out there, put that in the game. But yeah, that's what I think could be possibilities for the different armors as well as the different weapons. But if they wanted to be cool and throw in some 40k related support weapons and vehicles, there's a ton to choose from. If you want tanks, well, there's like a million tanks in the setting. And if you want heavy weaponry, there's a lot of that too, as well as, different bombardments for red stratagems, because I would love a new red stratagem. But friends, that's a lot to kind of peel from in the terms of the onion that is Warhammer 40k. And I'm sure you also have your own theories. So let me know what those are, and if you think that I'm right on the mark for the potential collaboration items. All right, everyone, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Take care.